Hello everyone, I hope you had a very much of a wonderful, great day indeed, guys. As you can see, guys, this week is extremely cold, as in literally cold. It's gonna be cold for the next 3 days, as was quietly stated as well. But regardless of that, guys, I'm exactly completely here in order to continue my journey about the supervillains and the superheroes as well. Regardless of that, guys, despite that, guys, I'm so superly grateful for you guys' support in viewing and in watching my episodes and my videos from TikTok, YouTube, and from Shorts. It completely, tremendously means a lot to me, and I'm very grateful for you guys. I'm very truly grateful for your guys' support. It means the entire universe to me, and I'll never actually forget about it, no matter what exactly. May God bless you all, and may you all have a wonderful, blessed, long weekend as well. I won't be able to actually to be shooting on Friday, since Friday is a long weekend, and as well on Monday. So you'll see me on next week Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm not sure about the other Friday, but I'll actually confirm it on our last day, which is Thursday, just to be precisely sure that on next week Friday it's also it's also a next long weekend as well. But regardless of that, guys, I will keep you informed. But just for you guys to know that on Friday I'll be taking a complete day of absence, and as well as for Monday you'll see me on next week Tuesday. But regardless of that, guys, I'm still completely grateful for your guys' support. Have a blessed week and a great day indeed as well. And also a long weekend. And from those of you who are also subscribing and following me, have a great, tremendous, blessed long weekend and a great week. On today's episode, we're to speak about the sacred children, who are a very powerful, sinister, shadowy group of deadly and greater formidable associates of formidable shadowy associate of the new Lord of Magic, known as Lord Jet, who have exactly agreed to remain his associates and agreed to aid him in finalizing his long-term plan and goal in controlling and ruling the sacred universe and the sacred world and the known universe and the entire sacred magic universe and the rest of humanity in the process. And they quietly believe in the obligation and goal and dream of the original Lord of Magic to exterminate and wipe out the supernaturals, aliens, and superhumans, Formation Hunters, and the great sacred heroes of the sacred world as well in the process. Despite that, they are very a powerful, sinister, ancient group of super dark, magical creatures, very deceptive and very dangerous and very deadly, known for their reputation as one of the most dangerous, powerful, sadistic, shadowy, ancient, super criminal groups who are very determined to making sure the progress and the goal and the dream of the original Lord of Magic successfully bears fruit, which will also further their plans and their goal by utilizing the resources of the original Lord of Magic. In other words, they are exactly his associates, and they have remained the associates of the new Lord of Magic. Even now, they're still his associate as well. Oh, just one more thing, guys, that you don't exactly know, that these sacred children are the mysterious holographic figures and mysterious super powerful ancient criminals that I've been telling you about. They are the groups that I've been actually been telling you about, and they are very observant and very dangerous and very powerful, not meant to be underestimated. Throughout Formation Hunter history, the Formation Hunters have learned that these dangerous, sinister, shadowy groups of super criminals are very dangerous and are also very powerful, not meant to be underestimated. So let's exactly get started. In the in the ancient primordial, in the middle centuries of the sacred of the ancient sacred civil wars of the ancient sacred civil wars of the sacred great nations, the sacred children were able were able to gather as much followers and as much recruit to the organization in order for them to stop suffering and wars from all sizes, which they were able to use the base of which they were able to use the base of operation as a headquarters for them to actually operate from throughout the sacred children. One of the most powerful, greater, formidable leader was the leader of the sacred children, who was very, very high ranked and very meant to be known to very meant to be known to be very meant to be known to be very meant to be known to be possessing tremendous infinite power greater than all the other members of the organization and of the group as well. Regardless of that, the leader of the Sacred Children exactly spoke to the original founding members of the group, while the other members exactly continued to exactly settle down to the new headquarters and exactly discuss the options and the plans to aiding and also giving the original Lord of Magic greater forbidden knowledge and greater forbidden techniques and forbidden powers, which the organization's goals were exactly formidable to be charged with. Despite that, the other members agreed that they should exactly proceed with the plan and with the plan's directive, changing in goal to making sure that the original Lord of Magic's goals and dream successfully bears fruit for the long-term plan and also for the common interest of ending all wars and chaos in the process, which by exterminating these creatures is very crucial for the plan to begin solidifying and also to begin taking place one way or another, as they all came to the actual agreement of that plan as well. During the following course of the great centuries of the great sacred civil wars of the sacred great nation, the sacred children exactly still remained operating within the shadows of the sacred world's wars and conflicts, while still exactly secretly providing the original Lord of Magic and his forces and the rest of his operatives with greater forbidden texts and techniques and dark, powerful magical techniques of powers and sacred scrolls and powerful sacred scrolls of how to control and how to easily and also how to anonymize the ancient substance of shadow energy and of wild energy in a process in order to control it and in order to understand its physiology and its powers and its capability as well. In return, the original Lord of Magic will supply the sacred children with endless cosmic resources and unlimited powers and resources in return, due to thanking them of their great cooperation and a full collaboration with him and to the Shadow Empire as well. Within the middle century, the Shadow Empire had grown too powerful and too dangerous for the sacred children to actually providing the original Lord of Magic with any knowledge and with any further knowledge and greater forbidden techniques, as they realize that he already has obtained too much and that his body won't be able to literally take it all in, or either to infuse with the forbidden technique, since his body has already quietly infused itself with shadow energy and with wild energy, which means in other words his physiology and his body in its greater degradable form won't be able to take the forbidden magical techniques and powers in a process which won't work for him in any ways, because he's about to be facing his near death and his near demise in the time that's quietly closing in as well. So for that exactly, they decided to tell the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders in the Dark Crystal Temple. A few members of the Sacred Children were able to reconvene with them within the last raid of the middle century, and told them that they'll still provide the Shadow Empire and the original Lord of Magic with more greater access forbidden powers and techniques of how to control and preserve power and life and energy, but to how to control and obtaining wild energy and shadow energy and all the forbidden techniques of how to manipulating shadows and darkness, and all of that is beyond the original Lord of Magic's power and his extended lifespan, which is quietly able to show that his body won't be able to tolerate the powers and the abilities that come with it, which the body also needs to adapt to the state of mind. The other Shadow Empire warlord exactly reassured the Sacred Children that the original Lord of Magic can still take all the powers and all the great new abilities as well, as long as he's still living and thriving, and still as long as he's still actively living and thriving alive, he will be able to still receive all the powerful magical treatments and everything else. And under the care of the goddess of power, known as the Witch of Power Ember, he will still receive the unlimited supplies and systems that his body can able to take. So in other words, his body will be able to tolerate it. Regardless of that, the other Sacred Children exactly told the Shadow Empire warlord that they will still supply the original Lord of Magic with endless knowledge and everything else, due to him able to reassuring them that he can still tolerate all the powers and all the new abilities, that the body can still take it. But regardless of that, they still show very much concern of the original Lord of Magic's health and of his body, and also of his body deterioration due to him being infusing himself with shadow energy and also with wild energy, which actually begins to show some specific side effects to him infusing himself with the energy, which granted him great immense immortality. But the price to it is that his body is beginning to show deterioration signs and propaganda and all of that, which begins to exactly extract his old age, and his form is beginning to weigh down little by little throughout the ancient middle century, which is why he kept on infusing himself with shadow energy, which kept him more beautiful and more younger and more powerful and more extremely immortal. But the price to it managed to show that his body is beginning to literally degrade itself, and also literally begin to show signs of deterioration from the cells and from the body. But the magical powers and the abilities are still working, preserving him for a very, very long standard period as well. Regardless of that, the Sacred Children exactly understood that, and they're willing to actually still supply the original Lord of Magic with greater forbidden knowledges and texts, as it was part of the agreement and it was part of the ancient pact. And they still reassured the Shadow Empire warlord that they continue still doing that as well. Over the following years, the Sacred Children remained in the shadows of the sacred world, collecting powerful weapons and greater objects and anything else that might be very crucial for their plan and for their goals of the organization, for it to beginning taking place with its true purpose and philosophy and its true mission, which is very crucial for it to begin taking place, while the Shadow Empire remained in power and in control over the renowned worlds and the civilization, and throughout some random villages within the sacred great nation as well, which the Shadow Empire was under the current leadership of the original Lord of Magic begin influencing it, begin actually passing on a dark influence within its high-ranking leaders and commanders of those sacred villages of the sacred great nation as well, which the Sacred Children were well aware of that as well. Within the 1 year of the great century, the Sacred Children actually reconvened on a dark powerful cave, which is one of their base headquarters, in a dark shadowy holographic form, where they were able to conceal their identities, and they all exactly only about 4 members of the Sacred Children started to actually begin to reconvene on that cave, and decided that it's best they actually continuing supporting the original Lord of Magic, and also making sure that his goals and plans successfully bear fruit one way or the other. The other members were very quietly intrigued, and the others were very quietly skeptical of where will all this exactly lead, as the leader began to reassure them that all of this is about to lead exactly where it's meant to be going by, and where it's destined to be going by. And it's very crucial that they maintain a very, very high observant of the situation of the wars and conflicts, that their plans must begin taking action, which is very crucial for it to also to maintaining a very, very high, low, distant cover, to maintain the facade and the organization's existence within the rest of the sacred universe's wars and conflict, which is very wise for them to maintain a discreet low profile, not worthy for them to taking a higher profile. The others began to agree on the leader's dictatorship and on the leader's greater opinion and also advisement that it's best that they remain a low crucial point, which is very inevitable for them to actually taking a different drastic action. After that, the dark shadowy holographic forms began to disappear after after the actual last meeting. On the 27th of March, on the 27th of March, the Sacred Children held up another meeting on a dark, powerful cave, which was quietly held in a dark, powerful cave. And this time, the cave was filled with ancient monster statues that were quietly erased from sacred history and as well as from warlock history and from Four Nation Hunter history, that these creatures and monsters were the very, very deadly abomination of their kind and are one of the worst monsters ever seen. The great holographic projections of themselves, the great shadowy holographic projections of themselves begin to reappear on the around the great circle, while the other members holographic projections, shadowy holographic projections on themselves begin taking place also around within the exact same place as well. To that point, the Sacred Children begin to agree that the death of the original Lord of Magic has created a power vacuum within the Shadow Empire, and that their plans must begin to taking place. The others exactly told the others that the universal heroes have proven to be dangerous and very, very powerful, and it will not be wise for them to go toe to toe with them, which is very best in their interest for them to keep their existence still a secret until they understand the threat they are about to be going face to face with, which the others began to agree, and so did the leader as well. On the after that last meeting, the Sacred Children have decided to keep themselves quiet and very much quietly while distant from the sacred wars, and especially that the power vacuum within the Shadow Empire has already began taking place in 1 month, when the first one has already began taking place due to the death of the original Lord of Magic, while the second one began taking place due to the disappearance of the universal heroes fighting a sinister threat on the other side of the sacred universe, which they decided to keep themselves quiet, and they did it very much quietly, purposely. After April and May, they haven't exactly reconvened and anything else. They decided to keep themselves quiet in order to observe the situation and the forces that they're quietly waging war and fighting amongst themselves as well, and each other as well. On the 20th of June, on the 20th of actual June, the leader of the Sacred Children was quietly standing on the tower of the great sacred nation that he's really quietly managed to rule and conquer, and was quietly revered as a godlike savior being to the rest of the villagers and to the rest of the people, until the member of the sacred children exactly told him that the mysterious ally has completely arrived. With that, the leader of the Sacred Children exactly entered the tower's building and exactly spoke with the mysterious ally, as the mysterious ally told him that it's best that the plans begin taking place and that the mobilization of their goals must begin taking place, which is very crucial for their plans in order to begin proceeding accordingly the way they've exactly envisioned it, which is very wise for their goals to begin taking full alignment, and that they can actually begin furthering the interpretation of their goals and of their plans as well. The leader quietly agreed that the universal heroes are quietly proving to be dangerous and very powerful, sinister heroes, and will not exactly be wise not to underestimate them or undermine their abilities, since they've managed to defeat all the other sinister obstacles, such as the members of the founders and the members of the Order of the Five and the original Lord of Magic and the Dark Druids, the Dark Witches and the Dark Faithful and the Shadow Empire Warlords and the operatives of the Order of the Five and the operatives of the Founders and the operatives of the Order of the Six and of the Order of the Seven and of the Order of the Order of the Seven, and also as well as the Order of the Six, and as well as a court of nature, would not exactly be wise not to undermine or estimate the ability as the leader of the Sacred Children, beginning telling the mysterious ally about the consequences of undermining the universal heroes. The mysterious ally exactly told the leader of the Sacred Children that he understands the threat very well, as he understands what's at stake. After that, he disappeared within the tower and his energy and power was basically not detected or sensed since the sacred since the sacred children's leader was able to tell the member that he is completely gone and erase his entire presence as well. On the 26th of July, the leader of the sacred children began summoning every member on the hands of a monster, powerful, on the hands of a giant monster statue. This time they all appeared in the dark shadowy projections, in the dark shadowy holographic, in the dark shadowy projections of themselves as well, in order to conceal their identities. And every member was on the hands of the monster, was on the hands of the ancient monster statue, and also in a very different location of a different cave, and also very well on a different location of a different ancient cave as well, which they begin exactly sealing the next ritual of the step by taking the power of the dark magical warlocks power, and also in concealing them straightly into the monster statue's power and mouth, and also its ability. The leader was able to detect the Phoenician hunters and their allies closing into the location, and he told the other members to exactly intercept these heroes before they can exactly call more backup, and the ritual must exactly continue the way it was. So in doing so, he asked for powerful selective members of the sacred children to go and distract the enemy, while the others continue sealing the powers of the dark warlock. The other member exactly volunteered, but the leader exactly thought that it's best that his powers were not exactly on a higher level as the other, as he selected the other member, and as well as the other member, in order to occupy the group of the Four Nation Hunters while they continue the sealing ritual in the process. To that point, he created a very he used a very shadowy, forbidden dark technique of a shape-shifting dark technique, which he conjured from his dark, shadowy, holographic projection of himself. Despite him being far away from the other members, he's still in his powerful. As I said before, the leader is a very powerful, possesses tremendous power and greater forbidden energy and infinite dark powers and greater unknown forbidden techniques from his own greater stature speed as well. Despite that, he managed to plunge his hands together and was able to do exactly like this within his progenitive of his mind, and was able to exactly conjure up powerful shape-shifting beings of the two powerful shape-shifting beings of the two members of the sacred children, in order to keep the enemy heavily distracted while the ritual began taking place. And during at that time, the ritual was quite complete, and the shape-shifting clones began to disappear. The two members exactly argued among themselves that the clones were not exactly as powerful as the original selves. But despite that, the ritual was quietly complete, and the other members began to disappear, with their shadowy holographic forms began to disappear, and the leader exactly told the other members to fight the heroes and to occupy the Four Nation Hunters and to remove them away from the base's location. Until then, he unsummoned the monster statue and literally cast it off somewhere else, and he disappeared as well from the charade of the battle. On the 20th of August, the leader of the sacred children began to summon the other members of the sacred children to a different dark, mysterious cave. This time at the very same positioning of the hands of the monster statue, where he began exactly explaining the organization's goals and its purpose and its mission for them to controlling the sacred great worlds, the sacred great worlds of the sacred great nations of the sacred universe, for them to remain the supreme rulers of the sacred great nations, and of the 4 nation hunters, and of the 5 nation hunters, the 6 nation hunters, the 100 nation hunters, and the 7 nation hunters, and the 10 nation hunters, homelands and villages, and of the sacred clans, tribes, and all the other secretive, worldly, magical worlds and civilization, where they will remain the sole supreme rulers of those secretive worlds and planets, and the secretive nation, and also the great sacred countries, and of the sacred worlds, countries, and nation, in the process where they'll begin ruling them, and also using the forbidden power of the monster statue to destroying one world and the other power will be used to wiping and laying waste to the other great great sacred nations, worlds, and planets and civilization in the process, to prove that they're in power, and also they're also in very much in control of the battle. As the new member of the Sacred Children was very skeptical and intrigued about the plan, and he told the leader that he's very well interested to joining forces and becoming a full-fledged member of the Sacred Children as well. On the 26th of September, the leader of the Sacred Children was still able to remain sitting at the tower of the sacred great nation that he managed to conquer, this time on the hands of a very much weird statue, goblin, creature, monster, where he was able to exactly focusing his energy and power in detecting all the other supernatural inhabitants that live within the sacred great nation that he manages to conquer and rule very quietly, decisively, where he was able to focus his power and his abilities in detecting any intruders or any unwanted invaders from within his very homeland that he ruled and conquered with an iron fist, and that he's still able to control it as well. On the 17th of October, the leader of the Sacred Children and the other members of the Sacred Children reconvene on a dark cave, and this time on the dark, shadowy, holographic projections of themselves, until the new Lord of Magic, known as Lord Jet, appeared with the very same projection of himself, with a dark, shadowy projection, holographic on a dark, shadowy projection, holographic on a dark, shadowy holographic projection of himself as well, but his wings were able to show from within the other members, just to state that he's more powerful and very, very dangerous from the other members as well. Lord Jet exactly explained himself and literally and introduced himself as a new Lord of Magic, and told the Sacred Children that he's very grateful for their services and for their advices, and as well very grateful for them associating themselves with the new Lord of Magic, known as Lord Jet. The leader of the Sacred Children told Lord Jet, who is the new Lord of Magic, that they are very much will always remain the associate of the new Lord of Magic and of his new organization and of his ancient secret society known as the Order of Power, which is quietly in the best vested interest for their goals to beginning taking place, which is very crucial for it to beginning finalizing their future plans and their long-term plan goal in the process. Lord Jet exactly reassured the Sacred Children that as his greatest loyal associate, he has the interest in the best of hearts, and that he'll always be considered them as the greatest partners and greatest associate to his organization, and the members of his organization also reviewed the Sacred Children as greater associate and as greater allies, as the other members also begin to actually see that from themselves as well, judging from the expression of Lord Jet, who is the new Lord of Magic, from his dark, shadowy, holographic projection of himself, telling them that he's very much quietly grateful for their services, and they are also very much quietly grateful for their services as well, and that their partnership remains intact. And the leader remained quiet through his dark, shadowy, holographic projection of himself, but his eyes still remain the same as well. On the 27th of November, the members of the Sacred Children convened at a very much of a different dark cave in the actual same position of the dark, shadowy, holographic projections on themselves as well. And this time they were able to exactly remain silent as always, and they will remain silent as always as well, until they received a very much of a feedback from one of the operatives known as a very powerful, dangerous strategist of a super criminal known as Green Man, who was able to enter the cave and tell them about his successful failure to try to wipe out the Universal Defending Heroes, and as well the Universal Space Heroes, and as well as the Universal Magic Heroes, and as well as the Universal Founders, that he completely underestimated and undermined the abilities in thwarting their plans and the successful operation. The leader of the Sacred Children told Green Man told the super villain Gridman that he done exactly the way they predicted it, and it's time for them to begin taking action. Meaning he has a sinister plan in mind. Thanks for his services and for his work, and that he will always be remembered as a greater operative to the organization. On the 17th of December, on the actual 17th of December, while the Four Nation Hunters of the Intergalactic Coalition were still battling the Shadow Empire, warlord and commanders with their battle cruisers and fleets and all of that, the other members of the United Heroes were quietly standing guard, protecting the dark red crystal on its crystal chamber from the other from the biggest and most greatest battle cruiser of the mothership that the Dark Empire of the Dark Emperor was quietly housing in order to protect this forbidden dark ancient weapon which possesses tremendous power and greater energy. While they were still exactly protecting the Dark Crystal's chamber, while they were still actually protecting the Dark Crystal chamber, a dark forbidden portal opened within the crystal chamber, and the leader of the Sacred Children stepped in and fought with the members of the United Heroes and literally teleported them from the other side of the other alien worlds, which they completely fell from the alien world's jungle and forest, and he took the crystal and especially as the entire battle cruiser of the mothership and placed it under his sole control and left the orbiting of the star system where the war between the Four Nation Hunters of the Intergalactic Coalition of the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders was still going on, and the other members of the United Heroes became very much concerned who was the mysterious powerful figure who just attacked them and took control of the entire battle mother cruiser, and why did he actually took it. On the 26th of January, the leader of the Sacred Children began exactly projecting a powerful dark holographic broadcast to the entire alien galaxy and also the other alien worlds and universes and civilization, telling them that the sacred universe is now hereby free from all invasion and from all incursion, and that the Shadow Empire and the Dark Empire's control and dominant force in remaining the most powerful empire within the known universe is hereby being stripped of its power and of its control all over the other civilization, and that they're free to begin invading humanity and planet Earth with all the jurisdiction that is beginning to tell the ruthless alien warlords and the commanders of their own ships and of their own empires that they must proceed with the incursion and with the invasion, and that they must do so out of their own free will, which he began telling them that through the holographic projection of the message that was able to broadcast through the entire known worlds of the alien civilization. On the 26th of February, the leader of the Sacred Children began to reconvene with the members of the Sacred Children on a dark, misty cave where they were all exactly in the exact same position of the dark, shadowy holographic projections of themselves, and the leader began telling the members of the Sacred Children that their plans are now beginning to taking place, and that the progress of their plan is now beginning to solidify in a very faster, accurate way, which is very crucial for them to begin proceeding with their goals. On the 15th of March, the leader of the Sacred Children was able to reconvene with the members of the Sacred Children face to face on the next base of operation, which was a very powerful dark crystal temple, where he began telling the members of the Sacred Children that their plans are now beginning to take place, and that it's time for them to begin the new orchestration of orchestrating one of the greatest events that could reshape the sacred universe's wars and the sacred universe's wars and conflicts to their own advantage. The other member exactly told the leader of the Sacred Children that the cosmic alignment is about to take place, and that it's very crucial for them to actually to be present when it actually does, which is very crucial for it that their powers remain undetectable during at the phase of the cosmic alignment, which is where they all agree to that. On the 14th of April, Lord Jet, the new Lord of Magic, exactly began conjuring up the dark, shadowy holographic projection of himself on a very ancient dark crystal temple, as about 5 members of the Sacred Children beginning to reveal themselves with a dark, shadowy holographic projections of themselves, as well as the leader who remained on the other side, as they're all exactly beginning to discuss their plans and their progress, and also furthering the next interpretation of their plans and of their goals, while the leader of the Sacred Children told Lord Jet that their plans are quite being placed and that everything else is beginning to take place, and that the finalization has already been completed. All that's left is for the war to begin taking its rightful place, and that the 4 Nation Hunters will be removed out of the way, and especially the greatest and most dangerous obstacle known as the Universal Heroes will be done and will be eliminated completely without any due process or any interference, which will speed up the process of their plan in obtaining power and control and liberation from other worlds and civilization and great secretive nation in the process, which will be very crucial for their plan to be taking place in order for it to be fully finalized. Lord Jet completely agreed with the leader of the Sacred Children that it's already about time and that it's already proceeding according to schedule the way it was meant to be as well. On the actual day of 16th of May, the leader of the Sacred Children began talking to the founding members of the Sacred Children within the tower by sitting within the chairs with the purple crystal light partly shining on top of the chairs, and exactly telling them that the plans and preparations are taking place. And the 2 members exactly told the leader that they will always be by his side and that everything else has already began taking place. The new mysterious shadowy ally began revealing himself from the shadows as he was wearing a metal mask in order to conceal his identity and his face, and began telling the 3 members of the organization that now there's no turning back and everything else is in place, and they can never undermine or estimate the Universal Heroes ever again, and that they've tried to eliminate them and wipe them out with their mercenaries and with their assassins, which failed brutally, and that it's time for their goals to beginning to be set into motion the way it was meant to be, and they all agreed with that as well. Despite that, guys, the Sacred Children are a very powerful, shadowy, ancient group of very powerful, shadowy elite criminal organization that specializes in ending conflicts, wars, manipulation, extortion, power, controlling, liberation, and also with the power and embodiment in controlling events and also manipulating events and wars and conflicts in the process to furthering their sole plans and their goals in the actual process. The members and the members of the organization are very powerful and a very dangerous, shadowy, powerful super criminals, and a very dangerous and a very deadly and very ruthless and very highly ambitious with their goals as well. According to the 4 Nation Hunters, these sacred super criminals come from their respective villages. They come from their respective great villages and clans and nations. Others of them have defected, which exactly explains why they become the most dangerous, volatile criminals ever before, with the dark desire and with the dark ambition of their own. Some of the other members are very quietly heavily recruited into the organization due to the reputation being well known to the sacred great countries of the sacred world, due to them becoming one of the most wanted top criminals, and they were able to maintain their reputation by using it to their advantage in order to conceal themselves and also to hide themselves as well. The leader of the Sacred Children is a very powerful, deadly, terrifying leader, and a very formidable leader who possesses and wields tremendous infinite power, unlike all the other members, and is very strict with the organization's goals and mission, and very highly observant, possesses the power of detection and the power of analyzing and the power of seeing through manipulation and the power of mind control, telekinesis, levitation, and the power of controlling magnetic repulsion, gravity, and the power of switching thoughts, the power of greater shifting, the power of summoning monsters and creatures and wild animals from other dimensions in order to protect him and guard him, in order to protect him, and also to guard him, and also to shield himself, and the power of super speed and super strength. He's very extremely immortal, very powerful, and very deadly. The other founding members of the organization are also very powerful. They too also possess greater infinite powers due to their reputation as being the most secretive, deadliest criminals of the sacred great nations. They are very powerful and very greater. Each member of the sacred children possesses a greater power, and they all possess greater infinite, forbidden, dark techniques, and greater powerful techniques, and unknown magical powers, and shadowy magical powers and abilities. Some wield dark magical powers, others wield infinite, shadowy magical powers due to them being related to shadow energy and to wild energy. Some of them have quietly infused themselves with shadow energy. Others of them are extremely immortal and very resilient. Some are bloody, thirsty killers who are very willing to kill in order to obtain more power and more blood for their goals. The members are very dangerous, sinister, deadly, super secretive criminals who are very shadowy, and the sacred children have higher, greater shadowy allies who are known as the greater long-term collaborators, who also offer them greater unlimited resources. Due to the organization being known as a secretive, powerful, ancient, elite criminal organization, it has the power and the greater connections towards the sacred world criminal underworld. It possesses influence, power, connections, control, and also greater manipulation, and greater dark influence and capacity and also the capacity of wielding tremendous power, and the capacity of greater controlling other great secretive nations and villages and clans in the process. The members are very enlightened members, very optimistic and very powerful, each of them with a great unique dark ability and a greater unique dark ability and power and a forbidden technique that they all wield. And they are very dangerous, shadowy criminals who project themselves through dark, shadowy holographic projections of themselves, which is a greater forbidden technique that they all wield. And even some of the rogue Formation Hunters have joined in the organization to further their own goals and their own interests, which they believe in the organization's goals. And due to that, they still remain the long-term associate of the new Lord of Magic and of the members of the Order of Power, because they believe in the new Lord of Magic's goals, and it's true, and they believe in the new Lord of Magic's goals and his true purpose with his organization to controlling and remaining the sole superior ruler of the sacred world and of the sacred universe and of the known universe as well, which they believe in the original Lord of Magic's goals in trying to exterminate and wipe out the supernaturals, aliens, superhumans, the Formation Hunters, and the universal heroes, as each member has learned from their failures in initially infrequently clashing with the universal heroes allies, such as the universal founders, the universal founders, and the universal magic heroes, and the universal defending heroes, and the universal space heroes. They've learned the hard way that their abilities in thwarting the operation can now never be underestimated, and they learn from their failures, which is very highly observant of them to not repeat the same failures, as the leader is very highly observant of the threat that they quietly facing, and they've learned from the other associates and from the mysterious allies and the associates to never underestimate the obstacle that they're quietly waging war with, and they are very highly observant to maintaining their bases, to maintaining the individual bases of headquarters, to maintain the usual bases of headquarters, as well as a central headquarters, which is a dark crystal temple and other ancient caves and other ancient powerful caves, and also with the leader controlling an entire secretive dark nation under his sole control, which he uses it in order to provide himself security and a way in order to keep himself hidden and in a way in order to keep himself hidden and the organization quietly from operating within the shadows. They are very powerful, greater super shadowy criminals and are very dangerous, not meant to be underestimated. Very, very loyal to the original Lord of Magic, held great, tremendous respect for him, for his goals, and for his belief, and they still believe in it, and they still remain associate of the new Lord of Magic, known as Lord Jet, and the members of the Order of Power, which they believe in the organization's goals and its true purpose and its true mission. They are very, very, very secretive and shadowy group of ancient, powerful, shadowy criminals who are very well known how to work in the shadows of the sacred world and out of the sacred world's conflicts and wars, and are very, very highly observant, and very highly good in maintaining their cover and maintaining their identities, and by concealing them, and very good in creating projections, in creating shadowy holographic projections of themselves to conceal their identity, which is a very powerful forbidden technique that their members have managed to utilize and also to use it very wisely in order to hide themselves and to concealing their faces and their identities, but their eyes remain the same, as every member of the group and of the organization possesses different eyes. Some are green, some are purple, some are red, some are very the same much as human eyes, some also remain as normal, as they also have normal human eyes. Others have destructive appearances, as each member possesses a weapon or sword or a dagger. As I said, there are some 4-nation hunters who have joined with the organization who possesses weapons, swords, daggers behind them, who exactly carry them on their very back, which show throughout the shadowy holographic projection of themselves when they literally convene with the other members. They are very, very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, swordsmanship, marksmanship, and very skilled in intelligence, and also in telepathy, and also in telekinesis power, and also in telepathic communication. And they also wear very powerful dark crystal red rings, dark magical red rings, which also symbol the organizations, goal, and as well as its mission and purpose and philosophy. They all exactly are powerful, dangerous, secretive, deadly, super shadowy criminals, and are very, very highly enlightened members to proceeding with a sole superior goal and plan, to making sure that the new or original Lord of Magic remains in control and in power, which is very crucial for them to begin their sole purpose and their sole goal by speeding up the process of controlling and capitalizing from all wars and conflicts of the sacred universe and of the sacred world in their process. Very, very extremely immortal and very powerful. Each member is a very dangerous, shadowy, powerful, unknown criminal, and is very, very, and they all share a same different reason and a different goal, and they have their reasons from joining from the organization, and some of them are highly optimistic, some of them are highly funny, others of them share different personality, but the leader is very strict and very, very well professional, with the other founding members by his side, who are also reviewed as powerful, deadly criminals, are also very highly professional and also very quietly good in reading body language, and also in seeing lies, and also seeing through lies from a very, very greater distance. And they also have the power and the greater ability of detection and sensing the enemies and the opponent from a very, very far larger distance as well, which gives them the advantage which gives them the great advantage to hide themselves, and also to literally seal themselves, and also working from the shadows. They have tremendous greater allies and greater resources and greater powerful assassins and mercenaries at their back and call, which is one of just of a random super criminal known as Green Man, who's a greater operative of the founders and of the Order of the Five, and they form formidable dark allies. They form formidable dark shadowy alliances with dangerous Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, and with random warlords and warlocks and witches and druids and faithful and or other sinister criminal as well, in order for them to join forces with a common goal and with a common interest. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I all hope you all have a wonderful, blessed, great day, and I all hope you guys will enjoy yourself. Today is very quietly extremely cold, as you can see for yourself, guys. But despite that, guys, I all hope you have a wonderful day. I appreciate your support from those of you who are subscribing and also watching my episode and videos from YouTube and from TikTok and from Shorts and from long videos within YouTube as well. It means quietly the entire universe to me. Have a wonderful, blessed week and also a great long weekend. I'll see you tomorrow on our last day on Thursday. Take care of yourself and do whatever makes you happy and enjoy yourself and have a wonderful, blessed week. I have to go now. The battery is quietly very much low, so I have to go and charge it and upload these other videos and this episode for today. But enjoy yourself, guys, and love you all and have a blessed week. Bye. Bye.